this challenge, I will be attempting a no berries run to unlock a secret ending in Celeste. I spent all of last year playing almost exclusively League of Legends, so I decided to put myself out of my gaming comfort zone with a platformer, my least favorite game genre. I simply asked Google what the best platformer in the world is, and Celeste was the first result. I did not realize this was actually going to be an extremely difficult game, and I biffed even the simplest of things several times. This will be my third playthrough of the game, so enjoy laughing at my severe lack of gamer skill. I named my character Noberry and switched on assist mode just in case there's any moments that physically prevent you from completing the game without strawberries. Thankfully, I never ended up using it, but I had it ready just in case. I began the tutorial's basic platforming section before trying to sell an old lady a new driveway, after which I ran down a collapsing bridge and died because the bird didn't spawn. After acquiring my dash, I proceeded to the first chamber of the game, Forsaken City. Now in the frozen building level, I quickly bounced through these rooms. Thankfully, all the strawberries were placed in inconvenient locations, so I was at no risk of accidentally collecting them. At one point, I went in the wrong direction, had to backtrack, then struggled getting past this wall grab, but after smacking my head on this boulder one too many times, I realized what I was doing wrong and just dashed up. I reached a clearing above the city. I found a cozy camp spot next to a giant tombstone and commit arson before falling asleep, allowing a bird to shit on my head. The game progressed to Chapter 2 automatically. Old Site began, and I woke up to Armageddon, a meteor shower pelting the mountain. I ran inside a cave for safety and found a mirror. I stopped and checked myself out before the Phantom of the Opera burst through the mirror and used their wizard magic to turn the boulders into those jelly tube toys that look like fleshlights. I got stuck at this corridor because I forgot how geometry works. Instead of giving myself a math lesson, I gave myself repeat concussions. After brain blasting too many times, I did the one thing I'd never thought I'd do: go straight up into the next room, where the Phantom of the Opera started flirting with me. She said, "Stop climbing this mountain." But like the independent pixelated blob I am, I insulted her appearance and ran before she could commit first-degree murder. After failing this room 4 times, I got stuck on a ledge. I accidentally fell off and landed on the purple Teletubby. I eventually succeeded and had to play capture the flag with 5 doorbells to proceed. I eventually made it to the big room, and I regularly turned myself into skewered Madeline before noticing this convenient hatch. I eventually escaped and made it to an IHOP and picked up my phone.
2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
Unfortunately, my order was interrupted by my evil twin. She summoned a ghost who's into vor. And then I woke up. I sped on over to the telephone booth for round 2, but the ghost wasn't available at this time. I proceeded to Celestial Resort. Out of all the chapters to put a strawberry in your path, I figured this would be the one, to which I did accidentally grab the very first one after failing a hyper jump, so I commit fall damage. I reached the front door of the hotel and exploited screen refresh mechanics to bypass the platforming section and snag the key I needed to continue. Inside the hotel, a second ghost appeared.
Will you close it?
But this one didn't seem interested in giving me the throat treatment. Instead, I followed him to the President's Suite, which I'm assuming is supposed to be like the top dog of hotel rooms or something, but it was hard to catch up because he kept locking doors behind him and his floors were also missing in some rooms. I understand that ghosts don't really need floor, but the lack of leg accessible rooms were extremely frustrating. I encountered a strawberry that looked placed in my path deliberately, but I know when a strawberry has wings on it, that means it can fly away when you dash, so I burned a dash to make it leave before finishing the room. On a tangent, I know that I've only played like 30 hours of Celeste as of making this video, but Celestial Resort is my least favorite level. It has the worst music, it's one of the longest levels, the boss fight isn't fun because it's just a chase sequence, and the poop that kills you is literally everywhere, making it the most claustrophobic part of the game. This doesn't have much to do with the challenge, but I'd be remiss if I didn't voice my frustrations before giving this game a 5-star rating. I dashed through Mr. Oshiro's banquet hall and offer to help him get his shit together, to which I do. While helping out my friendly mountain ghost hotel person, I come across Theo, who's a few testes short of bravery and hides in the air vents like Mr. Oshiro is Freddy Fazbear. I botched this dash jump repeatedly, bounce my way through the leaky washroom, grab a golden toothpick, and do a fun little dance as I pick a lock with it. After climbing up an elevator shaft, I reach what is probably my least favorite room in this level, but thankfully I learned much from all my deaths and go through it with only a few this time. Once through the hell of this room, I watch Oshiro diarrhea all over the place, and I have to go a different way just to keep my shoes clean. I reach the pragmatic Suite and summon my Musharna to raise the roof. She casts a goad and dips, leaving me me to deal with the angry Huddle ghost. After getting chased in and out of the building, the dude eventually chills out and says I am not welcome back here. This isn't the first time I was kicked out of a hotel, but this time I wasn't the one shitting everywhere. I progress to the next chapter, Golden Ridge, the mountainside level where dreams go to die. This level is super pretty and has one of the best music tracks. The platforming sections are fun, but the wind is a gigantic pain in the ass. There weren't any sections I inherently struggled on, and nothing of note happened here. When speeding said level and reaching the sky subway, a fellow climber, Theo, catches up to me and shows me a cool feather minigame that I will grow to hate as this game goes on. I reach the Mirror Temple, which I traverse with bubbles until I find Theo stuck in a mirror. If only my evil twin could show up and help bust him out of there, but that would make it no longer my problem, and that's not what video games are about. I find a mirror of my own and get slurped inside, where I get to talk to my headspace sister. After running from some googly eye monsters, I find Theo inside a snow globe. I snatch it to bring it home to my collection and get chased by even more googly eyed monsters. Eventually, I find the biggest googly eye of them all and throw my brand new snow globe at it. Sadly, it breaks, but I complete the level without running into any dangerous strawberries. After sitting down to some campfire dinner, I try to sell Theo a new driveway, but he's not interested, so I resume climbing without him. Reaching the end of this level, I have a heart-to-heart with the little goth girl herself, where I tell her how much I hate feathers in this game. A drunk driver who has a better chance of hitting nothing than even an experienced speedrunner trying to drive one of these things. Something I never realized I love about video games is their ability to let you move at your own pace, but these feathers will rocket you forward with some of the worst steering imaginable, so I opted to just climb as much of this level as I can without them. Evil Maddie is annoyed that I dunked on this game's feather mechanic, so as punishment she throws me down to the rock pits below, forcing me to use feathers to climb back up. There's even a room where I get so sick of not being able to steer the feathers properly, so I just leave and try to continue through a different room that also has a fucking feather. I'm not even lying when I say this next bit, the only reason why I want to learn how to mod Celeste is exclusively to edit these base maps and make it so there's a way to beat the game without using feathers. After a couple minutes of parkour and hating the fact that this game has feathers, I come across the old lady from earlier who tells me I'll always be lonely as fuck if I can't even make friends with my reflection. I track her down and commence an awesome boss battle as she turns into a laser shooting tentacle monster. There haven't been a lot of strawberries to prevent me from beating this challenge, but I do want to stop and appreciate this boss battle. I mentioned earlier that the Mr. Oshiro fight is super disappointing because it's a chase sequence. I should be more specific in that it doesn't encourage interaction because I'm not good at Celeste. When Mr. Oshiro is going to dash, I need to stop wherever I am and wait however many seconds for him to do the thing just so that I can resume playing the game. The Oshiro sequence is incessant interruptions to the game flow that you can't do anything about because you can't kill him. Meanwhile, when you're fighting Madeline's reflection, the primary goal is to defeat her, to jump on her, to destroy her. The game wants you to interact. In addition, during the fight against Evil Madeline, almost every single room is super easy. It's some of the easiest platforming in the entire game. Most companies try to make boss fights insanely difficult and make it feel like a monumental challenge, but they just become frustrating experiences. For example, I love Doom Eternal, so I learned to beat the game and its DLC on Ultra Nightmare, but the boss fights aren't fun. Now that I've unlocked all the collectibles and the gold skins, etc., I literally just restart my save files at the end of the game once I get to the boss fights. I don't play them anymore at all because they're so shit. The reason why they're unfun is because the majority of the fight, you don't interact with the boss. You're just dodging their attacks or dodging their minions' attack. They give you the smallest windows imaginable to give you some chip damage. If a boss fight is just a dodging simulator that only cares about frame-perfect inputs, you might as well be playing Dance Dance Revolution or Guitar Hero or something to that effect. Boss fights are the climax of the narrative. They're more important to the overall story of the game than it is for the gameplay itself, because it's only a fraction of the entire playtime. I don't know if Celeste's creators understood this and therefore made this fight sequence easy on purpose, but it was also one of the most fun experiences in the entire game. Constantly interacting with the enemy, not dealing with puzzles that were so frustrating to the point where it hindered my enjoyment of the game. When I beat the Evil Madeline for the first time, I was actually kind of sad that the boss fight was over because I was having so much fun and I didn't even realize how long I was playing for either. I just wanted to point out that interactive gameplay over uninteractive is better, and that's why difficult rarely equals fun. Anyways, this portion of the game is fantastic, particularly because you spend so much time interacting with the enemy. Anyways, back to strawberries. After destroying the purple Goomba's morale, she concedes and promises to leave, but instead I absorb her essence and become the legendary Super Madeline. With my newfound power, I resumed my climb up Mount Everest. I did see a couple strawberries, but most of them were so far out of the way that I didn't have any inclination to go for them. I gave my pink-haired pal the occasional pep talk and reached the flag section. The final stretch of the summit is one of my favorite parts in the game, but there's a few splits that feel unreasonably difficult for a victory lap, but between atmosphere, music, and the fluctuating difficulties between each of these puzzles, this is what I think of when I think Celeste is a really good culmination of the game. I still hate the feather portions though. I finally reached the summit without a single berry in my sack, proving that you can in fact beat Celeste, even if you're allergic to strawberries. I did say I wanted to see the secret ending, and I'm sure you want to see it too, so I'll just let that play unedited for your viewing pleasure.